Okay, so graphing part 2. So we're going to look at what looks horrible but really isn't. Okay, so we have the graph here of y equals 3x squared minus 3x minus 1. Okay, so somebody's done the box, plotted all the points and drawn the graph. Okay, so then we've got to use this graph to find solutions for these two. Okay, so if we start with this top one, both of these, I know I said let's start with the top one, but both of these are simultaneous equations. Okay, so what we need to do, okay, is we can see here that we've got 3x squared minus 3x, which is what we've got up here, but then it's plus 2 instead of minus 1. So that's no good to us because we've only got the graph of this. So what we can do is this: we can change this equation so that it becomes this. Okay, so I've rewritten it here. So we've got 3x squared minus 3x plus 2 equals 2. Now we want this. So the only thing that needs changing is the minus 1. So I need to change the plus 2 to minus 1. So if I take 3 away from this, then, okay, if we look at it as money, if I've got £2 in the bank and I take out 3, that means that my bank account will be minus 1, which is where I want to be. But what I do to this side, I have to do to this side. Okay, so we have to balance it. So we get 3x squared minus 3x minus 1, which is what we want, and we've got 2 minus 3. So as I said before, if we've got £2 in the bank, we take £3 out, then my bank account now is at minus 1. Okay, and the reason I say that this is a simultaneous equation is because you could rewrite this as y equals 3x squared minus 3x minus 1, and I could also write that y equals minus 1, because if y equals this and y equals this, then they must equal one another. So that's why this equals this. I really do understand if you're sitting there going, what is he talking about? Okay, I don't take drugs or anything, I promise you. So now I've got to that, I've got y equals minus 1. Now when you solve a simultaneous equation graphically, what will happen is you'll have two lines, and where they cross is the solution. Okay, we did this in graphing part 1. So now if I draw the line y equals minus 1, so y equals minus 1 anywhere on that line. Okay, y equals minus 1 here, y equals minus 1 here, y equals minus 1 here. The x values are going up and down like crazy, but the y value anywhere on this line is minus 1. Now I can see that the line crosses here and here. Okay, so I can say that x equals 1 because it's crossing the line where x equals 1, and I can say that x equals 0, because the value of x is 0, and that's that one. So okay, so that is not a very nice one, and is not probably likely to come up in the exam. Okay, this one might, and the giveaway is, you can see, you remember y equals mx plus c. So here we've got an x plus a number. So we've got the graph here of y equals 3x squared minus 3x minus 1, which is this line. And we've got x plus 1. So as I said here, y equals x plus 1. So if I draw the line of y equals x plus 1, it's going to cut this parabola in two places, so we'll get two values. So if I quickly draw a box, because we can't draw a line until we've got our values, okay, so you can take any values that you want. Okay, so I'm just going to say x is 1, x is 2, x is 3. Okay, you only need 2 points anyway to connect to get a straight line. Okay, so again, always start with the top value. So if y equals x plus 1 and x equals 3, then 3 plus 1 equals 4. Okay, y would equal 3 plus 1, which is 4. Now if x equals 2, y equals 2 plus 1, which is 3. And then if x equals 1, y equals 1 plus 1, that equals 2. So now I can plot my points for this line. So where x equals 3, y equals 4. Okay, now I can't plot that because the graph's not big enough. Okay, but like I said, I only need 2 points to make a straight line. So where x is 2, y is 3. So where x is 2, y is 3. So it's going to cut through that point. And where x is 1, y is 2. So x is 1, y is 2. Okay, so I've plotted those 2 points. Now if I connect them, then that's going to give me a straight line. Okay, so I just draw it through. Something like that. Okay, now I can see that the 2 lines crossing. Okay, so it crosses around about there. So x equals let's say 1.75 ish. Okay, the computer might accept 1.7 or 1.8, and then here the line crosses here, so it's 2 squares to 1 unit, so from there to there will be 0.5, so I'd say that it's about 0.4. So x equals, and it's a minus, so it's minus 0.4. Okay, so that's how you would solve that one. So if you get a quadratic line on one side of the equal sign and on the other side you get a straight line, then it's just this. You draw the straight line, the curve, and then where the line cuts the curve, those will be your solutions. Okay, I do understand if you've never done this before, it does look complex, it does look long-winded, but If you do a few of them, it's not so bad. Okay, so I'll pause this and I'll just move on to the next one. Okay, so now this looks fairly horrific, but I promise you it really is easy. First thing they want us to do is fill out the box, and again in the exam this is very similar. They might give you values and you've just got to fill in the missing values. Okay, there is a pattern to this, but it's a bit long-winded to explain, because you can see there that the curve starts very high and then it becomes increasingly shallow. So again, all we do is we substitute in the x value into this. So we've got y equals 3 over x. Okay, so we're just going to substitute these values into the x. So if x is 3, then that will be 3 over 3. Now anything over itself is 1. So our value in here is just 1. Okay, now the next one, we've got x is 1, so that would be 3 over 1. Now anything over 1 is itself, so we just get 3. So we put in 3. The next one, x is 0.5, so 3 over 0.5. Okay, now this is quite good that this has come up, because this comes up quite a lot and people make a mistake. They'll go, okay, 3 divided by 0.5 or a half, that will be 1.5. Okay, that's the natural thing to do. Okay, but if you think of it like this, if we say 6 divided by 2, then that gives us 3, because there are 3 2's in 6. Okay, so if I've got 3 divided by a half, which is what 0.5 is, as we did here, we want to know how many 2's are in 6. Well, that's 3. So here we want to know how many halves are in 3. Well, that will be 6, because there are 6 halves that give us 3. Okay, so doing this might help you earlier, because in the paper, because this is the sort of thing that they know students will go, 3 divided by a half is 1.5. No, what we're saying is how many halves in 3, which is 6. So we get 6. Okay, so now we've got our values. So which is the correct curve? Well, this is a piece of cake. All we do is we find any one of these lines where it has these coordinates. So if I go where x is 0.5, y should be 6. So x is 0.5 here. Okay, that's 0.5 and that's 1. So if we go up this line and we get to where x is 6, that's there, we can say it's line A. We can check where x is 1, y should be 3. So x is 1, y should be 3. Bingo, job done. So finding the line really easy, because it should fall on these points. Okay, so hopefully you can see that this isn't quite as horrific as you think. It looks difficult, okay, but it really isn't. Okay, it's just a question of going in with an open mind and saying, Okay, it's something new, so how difficult can it be? And then just taking it from there. So I hope that's helped. As you always know, I'm always online if you need any help or you want more of this. So I hope it's helped you, and I hope it will help you get through the assignments and maybe give you a better understanding. Okay, so just carry on, you're doing great.